First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
And hello, everyone. Welcome to Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibler. Thank you very much for joining us. We are live streaming here every weekday starting around 1 p.m., going throughout the afternoon. It is Monday, and welcome to this week. And I, again, appreciate you being here and being a part of the show. We are live from the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom, and this is generally where we do our show, but sometimes we get out of here as well and go out into the world and go take a trip to different locations. And that's what we did on Friday. We went out to Providence Park, which is the home of the Timbers. As you may know, Green Day, Smashing Pumpkins, Rancid, and the Linda Lindas all together are going to be here in town on Wednesday, September 25th. But it takes a lot to convert the Timber Stadium, Providence Park, into a full-on concert venue. And that's what we got to take a look at, is some of that production that goes into it ahead of time, including laying out the floor. You know, it's normally a field there. It's normally turf where the Timbers are playing. You can't really have a venue and 7,000 people, which is what it is, extra on the floor, walking around on that. So you got to lay down a floor to it. We talked to them about that while they were working on it. And we also got a little bit of the history. So this is a two-part interview. The first part's more about the actual physical construction side of things, what goes into it. Then the second part, we talked to Heather a little bit more about the impact as a whole of having these concerts downtown and what a positive thing that makes for the city of Portland and the region in general. So let's start off with it, though. We are on the floor for both of these, actually, at Providence Park, on the floor, on the turf. That's probably a better way to put that, where they're laying down the floor for the concert. But here we go. This is the first half with Heather Davis. Heather, thank you for having us here.
Thanks for being here.
Here on the field, here at Timber Stadium, watching it getting transformed into what's going to be a concert for Green Day, Smashing Pumpkins, and everything else. So
yes.
It's amazing how much has been happening here. Can you walk us through like what it is that we're looking at, this flooring that's coming in? How does this all work?
Yeah, so you are seeing a year's worth of planning being put into effect here. Our second concert here at Providence Park this summer. Today, load-in started in earnest with the flooring that will cover the entire 100,000 square feet of this field. This floor is drivable. It can disperse 86,000 pounds of weight per square foot. So eventually it will cover the whole field. That will get done today. Tomorrow we'll start the stage build, which is called steel build. That'll take 3 days, 200 plus workers, multiple semi-trucks, and then the tour will arrive here on Tuesday. The tour will arrive here on Monday. And they will start loading in their production, and that will be when we get really the sort of full effect.
The full picture of the stadium. So how many days does it take to do this conversion from an MLS game to this?
So it's about an 8 to 9 day period total from load in to load out. So we'll start today, we'll have the concert on Wednesday. We could host a soccer game by Saturday.
That's a huge undertaking.
Yes.
To have that many days of it, and you said 200 plus workers working on just this section right here.
Yes.
Working on this right now.
Absolutely, yeah. 200 plus workers, I think 20 some forklifts will be used to bring all of this in. This is a very historic stadium. It has some unique challenges. We have one road in and out, so it's a delicate ballet to get all of this up and running.
Yeah, what I was going to say, for coordination like that, I imagine that takes a lot of different city organizations to work with, county, all kinds of people to make this all work.
Absolutely. This is a beautiful historic stadium right in the middle of a neighborhood. So we really rely on all of our partners in the city. We have a TriMet train that runs right along the east side of the stadium. So we have to work closely with TriMet. The neighborhood associations have been really great. The Mat Club, everyone in the area has been really supportive, though. And
we had the Foo Fighters concert here, the first one in decades. I can't remember how many years it was, but decades.
19.
19,
yeah.
Okay, 19 years. So you had the Foo Fighters. Obviously that went over pretty well. I would say I was here, I saw it, it was amazing.
It was an epic night.
What this was turned into. So from that one, that first one in so long, what did you learn from that going into this one?
Yeah, we had to make some minor adjustments, I would say, working on load in and load out, just sort of how do the trucks get down here, improvements to the ramp. First day we had some trucks bottom out coming in, and so, kind of figuring out how to solve some of those minor things. But truly, it was an epic night, and it went incredibly well for our first show. Live Nation, the tour, Foo Fighters were all really complimentary of the entire experience, so we were really proud of that first one.
Well, and this entire stadium, from what I understand, is utilized during these shows. So
Yes.
locker rooms, offices, all of that
Yes.
is something that the tour comes in and takes over.
Yeah, not a space is unutilized. It's pretty cramped. We don't have a ton to work with, so locker rooms, conference rooms, offices, staff work from home in the few days leading up to the concert because we do need to use offices and close down areas. Back of house space is, tight, and we utilize every square inch for sure. But the unique setup of the stadium with the stage down here on the south deck really allows the concert to use the entire horseshoe of the stadium, which is pretty unique for a stadium show. So it's perfect for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's set up right there in front of the Mac Club. I mean, yeah, you can really see it from all over the place.
Yeah.
Just construction-wise, what were some of the biggest surprises that you found going through this? I'm sure there's a lot.
Yeah.
A big learning experience.
When that stage started to come in for Foo Fighters, and it'll be the same for Green Day, it is much bigger than I had anticipated. It's 70 feet tall, which I don't know, that didn't seem like it was going to be that tall, but it is massive. And once that starts to go up, it is you really start to feel like, wow, this is going to be a really incredible venue and a really incredible night. But that was probably the part that all of us were like, oh, I can't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, so big. And so for people who are coming in here into the show, they're going to see the finished product. Obviously, all this is constructed. What's like a fun thing that in your head when you're looking down here that you think would be interesting for somebody at home to know about?
Oh, interesting. Well, last concert we distributed, I think, 3,000 pairs of earplugs. So we'll have plenty more on hand for this show. The floor is the place to be for concerts at Providence Park. It is a really cool vibe down here. Plenty of merchandise, plenty of food and beverage. So if you have floor seats, come down immediately to the floor and enjoy yourself all afternoon and evening. And there are a few tickets left, so if anyone's still interested in coming out to Green Day, check out SeatGeek for that. Nice.
And this flooring, as you mentioned, can hold a lot. And so even just seeing that itself would be something pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it looks incredible to have all the seats set out and to have the whole setup going. It really looks totally different than soccer.
And how many more people does it add having the floor seating?
7,000.
7,000 people.
Yeah.
So
it's 30,000 capacity.
Man, that's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, awesome. I mean, let's take a look at some of this.
Yeah.
All right, so we did go take a look at some more of it. There it is, some of the behind-the-scenes things. If you haven't been to Providence Park, there are some really great. They've got a lot of memorabilia and a lot of images. We'll probably be doing another story on that at some point. But going back from when it was first created in I believe it was the early 1900s is when there was a first something built there for sports. That burned down in the 1920s, and then they rebuilt it from there. But there's been something going on in that area for a long time. One little tidbit here. We're going to play the other part of this video as well that looks at a little bigger picture and just what this does for the economy there in downtown Portland. But one other thing is that in case you didn't know, there is actually a river running underneath part of the stadium down there. So there's a whole thing if you go into Providence Park that explains this, but it's the Tanner River, and it still is running underground under part of that stadium, and I believe it is the west side of the stadium that's at, and there's specific limitations on some of those semis that come in as far as they can't drive over that. So just something to know if you do go to Providence Park at any point, whether it's for this concert or for a Timbers game, just know there is an actual river running underneath there in one part of it. So I thought that was kind of a cool little piece of information. And again, they have a whole display of that. Let's go ahead to the second part, though. This is talking about just the concerts themselves and what this can do for the region and what it can do for the economy and for Portland too. Well, I know a big part, of being able to have shows here and a big part for the MLS and the Timbers and Thorns is this expansion. So this came in, what year was this?
Yeah, so we completed this expansion in 2019. It was privately financed by the Timbers and the Paulson family, and it is what got us to the capacity necessary to be able to be a viable stadium for sort of the mid-market concerts that we can attract to Portland.
So that's that the capacity that they're looking for when you're going to some of these touring agencies.
Yeah, and tours typically bypass Portland. This is the first time that we've had an outdoor concert venue that can host these shows. So it's a great new stop for tours coming from Washington or from California heading into Washington. But yeah, the expansion got us to the capacity that allows us to be able to be a host.
And looking at, I want to talk a little bit about the concerts too here at some point, but talking about just organizing this, we mentioned it, but it takes a lot of organization with the area, with this neighborhood. Yep. It's bringing a lot of people in, a lot of jobs, but a lot of stuff happening around here.
Yeah.
So how does that work, working with the local community?
Yeah, everyone's been really supportive. It is definitely an all hands on deck effort. I mean, the entire club is involved in every aspect of this. And then we have, neighborhood associations, TriMet, the city, Mac Club, a bunch of different stakeholders that are interested in these concerts. But everyone has been really supportive. It's definitely a lot of work. You gotta make a lot of phone calls and set up a lot of Zoom meetings. But for the most part, we've managed to navigate it, and we're learning still for sure. So we hope to make it even smoother next year. But this took about a year's worth of intense planning just to get to that first concert, and then the amount of execution and planning that went into those last few weeks was pretty intense.
And you're doing that, and then that's 2 concerts within a month.
Yeah.
Too, basically, I think.
Yeah,
math is
close.
right, but close. So that took a year to plan. You have the first one, the Foo Fighters. Obviously, it went over really well. And with that, do you know generally, and this may be a bigger picture kind of thing, but what kind of economic impact that had in this area for this region?
Yeah, so we're still evaluating that, but we do know that approximately 17% of the attendees were from more than 50 miles away, 24% were from out of state. So it definitely attracted people to the area that, traveled in. We heard anecdotally from hotels and restaurants downtown that they were at capacity for the first time this year. Restaurants had some of their best nights. So it definitely made a difference. And we do think that this concert series and bringing concerts back to Providence Park is a really important part of the revitalization of the central city.
Yeah, and when you look at that from the city of Portland, some of the efforts that they've made, you add in this, when you're working with them, and even Portland police and security and things like that, is that a pretty tight relationship as far as...
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we work really closely with the city, with Portland Police, the fire department. There's no agency that doesn't have some sort of hand in this, but everyone has been really helpful, and I think everyone recognizes how important it is to continue to bring visitors and people to downtown Portland and to show sort of how vital and exciting our city still is.
And what would you say to someone out there who maybe hasn't been to Portland for a while, but you've got this Green Day concert coming up, obviously Timbers all the time. What would you say to them to come back in here to experience something like this?
This is a really incredible venue to watch a concert in. I just heard someone a couple days ago tell me that they overheard some people talking about having gone to Foo Fighters here and in Seattle, and they referred to Providence Park as a mini Wembley Stadium. So I will be riding that high for a while, but it's a really great place to watch a concert. It's intimate but still big. It's a great area. We have tons of restaurants and bars just in a few blocks radius, and so there's a lot of opportunity to enjoy downtown if you want to come down for the concerts. There's still some tickets left for Green Day, so check it out if you haven't been to one yet.
And looking at it, in the bigger scope, a year for planning of Foo Fighters, Green Day. I'm sure there's other stuff in the works that you cannot talk about, but I guess the general thing is, do you expect this to be based on the response from the bands and the tours? Do we expect more concerts coming up next year and the years beyond?
Yes, we're still definitely proving the concept. It's a whole new world. I'm learning a lot about how you book tours and how you schedule tours. But Foo Fighters was incredibly complimentary, and their touring group is incredibly complimentary. So we do think that this will be a popular venue. It's a heavily scheduled stadium with 2 soccer teams here. So, we're not going to do a huge volume business like some NFL stadiums might be able to do, but we'll definitely hope to scale this and have a few more concerts next year and beyond for sure.
And how important do you think this is for the region economically, entertainment-wise, just for Portland as a whole to really come back to that revitalization effort you were talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this venue and the Moda Center are incredibly important to the economic stability of Portland and really of the entire region. And this opens up this venue to more than just the soccer fans that we know and love that come here all the time. It gives more people an opportunity to see what a great place it is, to enjoy what downtown has to offer. There's more than 200 workers that are engaged in this load in and load out process here. So there's jobs, there's hotel nights, there's bars and restaurants that that will be hosting people for, that evening. So I think it's a really important venue and a really important initiative that we've launched here.
Everybody pretty much benefits for that.
Yes,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having us in here
Thank you.
to check this out.
Thank you.
It's fantastic.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
All right, so again, getting to get an inside look there, just part of that construction. So that was on Friday. Today is Monday, just for reference point, Monday the 23rd. So, that was a couple of days ago already. So I don't even know what it looks like currently, but I would imagine she mentioned they were just starting to build the actual stage part of it, and then Green Day should be arriving there today. Green Day and the other bands that are part of this tour. So huge undertaking, but very interesting to get to see that. And a big thank you to the Timbers and Heather Davis for having us out there and letting us go take a look at what's going on. If you have any ideas for segments as well, if you ever look at this and you're like, hey, I would love to see behind the scenes of something else, feel free to send me an email, fox12now@kptv.com. That's fox12now@kptv.com. We're going to continue live streaming here throughout the afternoon. We've got more coming up at 1:30, and we're continuing with the sports theme. So we're going to be talking to Sport Oregon, which is an advocacy group that advocates for some of those big sporting events to come to town, like the NCAA women's tournament that's going to be coming here in a couple of years. That's going to be a huge moment for the city, but also things like races that happen at PIR. So all of those big sporting events that happen, they are part of that, part of advocating for those. And they also have another initiative called She Fly. So we'll be discussing that coming up at 1:30 p.m. So you can come right back to whatever platform you're on, whether that's the Fox 12 Oregon YouTube channel, whether it's KPTV.com or the Fox 12 Now app, or of course the Fox 12 Oregon or Fox 12 Now tab. The Fox 12 Oregon apps is another great way, whether that's on your phone or your television. We've got something there for you to find us, and you can check out all of our segments afterward as well. But we'll sign off for now, regroup. I'll talk to you in about 10 minutes or so, and I'll be right here for Fox 12 Now.